Fairy Tale: The Princess and the Whispering Wing. Once upon a time, in a kingdom wrapped in soft hills and slow-moving clouds, there lived a gentle princess named Elira. She was known not for jewels or gowns, but for her kindness to all things: birds, trees, rabbits, and even the smallest flower. Her favorite place in the entire castle was a quiet garden hidden behind ivy walls where no one else ever went. The roses there bloomed without needing to be planted, and the breeze always carried a warm, sleepy hum. One evening, as the sun slipped down behind the hills, Elira sat by a lily pond with her feet in the cool water. That's when she heard it, a soft giggle, like a bell wrapped in petals. She turned her head and saw a tiny wing, then two, and then, floating down like a falling petal, appeared a fairy. She was no taller than Elira's hand, and her wings shimmered like moonlight on water. "Hello," said the fairy, blinking with eyes as bright as starlight. "I'm Liria. I've been living here for a very long time, and I'm glad you finally heard me." Princess Elira gasped softly but smiled. "Are you a real fairy?" "Yes," said Liria with a gentle bow. "And I've been watching over this garden. It's very old and very magical. Only a princess with a quiet heart could ever hear my voice." Elira leaned closer, her heart full of wonder. "Will you tell me your story?" Liria twirled in the air. "Only if you promise to come back every evening." The princess nodded. "I promise." And so began the quiet friendship between the princess and the fairy. Every night, Elira returned to the garden, and each time, Liria told her a little more about the magical world hidden inside the kingdom. About a tree that sleeps and dreams of other forests. About a river that can whisper answers if you listen just right. And about a crystal mountain that appears only to those who walk without fear. But what Elira didn't know yet was that the kingdom itself was slowly changing. A shadow was stirring beyond the forest. Not a cruel one, not loud, but quiet, slow, and curious. And one day it would come looking, not for the crown, but for the magic. And so, the princess, the fairy, and the sleeping garden would have to protect something no one else could see. Years had passed since Princess Elira first met the fairy Liria in the hidden garden. They had walked through moonlit meadows, listened to the songs of ancient rivers, and once even climbed the sleeping crystal mountain, where Elira made a wish too soft to speak aloud. The kingdom had grown quieter, more peaceful. People had begun to notice the hush in the hills, the stillness in the wind. The shadow that once stirred beyond the forest never became a storm. It had wandered gently through the land, then melted into the mist, softened by the kindness that now lived in the hearts of the people. Elira was no longer a young princess, but she was still gentle, still quiet, still visited the garden every evening. And Liria was still there. But on one golden evening, as twilight settled over the garden, Liria sat on a petal and looked sad. "Elira," she whispered, "tonight is the last night I can stay." The princess blinked slowly. "Why?" "Because," said the fairy, "your heart no longer needs to hear me." Elira's hands folded in her lap. She said nothing. "You've learned all the stories," Liria continued. "You've kept the garden alive, and the kingdom kind. You've carried the magic without even knowing." Elira finally spoke. "But what if I forget? What if I lose the calm?" "You won't," said Liria, "because the garden is inside you now." Elira closed her eyes, and for the first time she could feel it. Not just hear the wind, not just smell the blossoms, but feel the garden blooming quietly within her spirit. Every flower, every butterfly, every soft silence. It was all there. Liria fluttered up and kissed Elira's forehead with a sparkle of light. "You will grow old, and you will rest one day. But even then, the garden will bloom in someone else's heart. Because of you." And just like that, Liria became a shimmer, a hush, a memory that hummed with peace. The princess never told anyone that the fairy had left. But every child in the kingdom grew up hearing soft stories that floated like petals. The garden remained hidden, but flowers sometimes bloomed in strange places. Quiet places. Places where children had been kind, or patient, or still. Some said they had dreams of a winged light. Some said they heard laughter in the lilies. And some just sat beneath trees, closed their eyes, and smiled, for no reason at all. The garden was still alive, and the story was still being told. The end. But if you listen softly enough, you might hear the next story begin.